Hail to the king, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another episode of Chill and Chat with Michael B. It's Monday. You know what that means. We're going to talk about home arcade and everything that is and maybe isn't happening with home arcade. I asked my buddy James, Jimothy, what do you prefer here? James hates everything.
Jimothy Taru or something.
Jimothy Taru. I asked James to be here because James is one of the people that I've seen mentioning this in the comments a lot lately about all these home arcades. And I find it a very good point. One that not a lot of people are making. It's easy to get excited because now it looks like we have all these options coming in fourth quarter 2025. We're no longer shackled to the hopes of Arcade1Up doing something because we now looks like we have, two other companies in this specific mix making these home arcade recreations with Iconic Arcade and Basic Fun. But James has said, I believe this is you, James. If not, I've asked the wrong person to be on the show, and that's okay too. But nothing's official until we see something. None of this stuff has been shipped yet. Some of this stuff is not even up for pre-order. So until that happens, what are we really working with here other than the fact the only company we know that shipped anything is in fact Arcade1Up?
Yeah, I definitely have been the one saying that. Said it quite a few times, right? Until we start seeing this stuff hitting ports or pre-orders going up. I mean, we're now almost August, right? Like it's time to put up, right? And we've yet to see much of anything other than a toy article from 2 months ago.
That's the weird thing about this. So we went into the later part of this year and we started hearing about, Basic Fun. We heard about them late last year. I'm sure you know this, John D. I haven't talked to him probably in about 5 months. But back when I talked to John D a little bit more, he gave me a heads up. This was last year before some kind of licensing conference. And he said, keep an eye out for Basic Fun. Atari aren't happy maybe with their partnership with Arcade1Up. They're looking to try to do some competition or work with somebody else. So maybe they're doing something with Basic Fun and they might have a Centipede cab there at this convention. And sure enough, later on, we finally got the breaking news officially about Basic Fun. And not only were they doing Atari stuff, they were doing so much more, and it was so friggin' exciting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember when you first reported on the rumor out of the LA toy show. I think that's what it was called.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It was in LA and a toy fair out there, that they were shopping around a Centipede XL. And of course, now we've basically seen it, right? We've got the packaging, we've seen pictures of it. So it's exciting. Now we need to see it actually ship.
Look at this guy trying to take credit for everything. P-Dubs is always like, I did it first. You know that arcade behind you. I was the first person to have an arcade in my room. And I called him earlier and he was napping. And I was like, are you okay? Everything okay? And he's like, I just need a couple minutes sleep. It was like the Penguin in Batman Returns. I just need a cold drink of water. Thank you very much, P-Dubs. Thanks for ruining a glorious nap earlier, jerk. Thank you for the super chat, my man. You're all right. Poor old P-Dubs. He likes to have his afternoon naps, sometimes right through Super Game Room Dudes, sometimes halfway through. We actually had people legit worried Friday night because P-Dubs never showed up. Someone actually posted a meme in the Super Game Room Dudes Facebook page of a milk carton with a picture of P-Dubs on it missing.
Yeah, I saw people in Discord the next morning. Everybody was like, "Was P-Dubs all right?" It's like, well, he posted, so he's alive.
We still don't know. He just wrote us and was like, "Gentlemen, something came up. I couldn't come on the show." So I don't know if that means something came up in his pants, something came up like a real deal, or he just fell asleep. I don't know. All right, James. So I want to start out talking about Arcade1Up, and that's probably the biggest surprise here because Arcade1Up really, like, we had them marked for death. Like, they were doing nothing. Nothing was coming out. There seemed to be no activity. The only thing they seemed to be doing this year was the classic SE cabs. Plus, you had Keo Deacon. I don't know how to say his name. I don't really care.
One of those guys.
But he was apparently at E3 Live or whatever that event is, Summer Game Fest E3. And he had an interview with the guy from Arcade1Up, and he said the only thing coming was potentially a Pac-Man pub table at Costco, but looks like that was completely wrong because we got some really weird stuff from Arcade1Up. A lot of this thanks to like I got Jim the Pacers fan in my Discord, always throwing shipping data to me. You usually find the other stuff. Like that's one of the good things about James. If you ever want to know what's going on behind the scenes in home arcade, with shipping data, legal battles, James is your guy to check out. So check out James Hates Everything on YouTube. James, you're changing your name soon too to Papa James, isn't it? Or Papa Meat? And you're going with new content?
No, Papa Meat is another Kansas City YouTuber. My name's changed, staying the same, that's for sure. he's an interesting cat.
Meat James.
Yes, James loves meat. How about that?
Yeah, so Arcade1Up then surprised us. The first was the Mossy Oak. And another thing I love about James is he has a ton of knowledge, like stuff I would never know. So I did a video and I was like, they're doing a... Oh, is my internet going in and out or something? I don't know.
It definitely got choppy there for a bit. It's a little better. It's very grainy, but it's better right now.
Son of a bitch. I am hardwired with gigabyte internet and it still screws up. I don't know what's going on. I don't look as bad as that time I had RGT 85 on my show, do I?
For a minute there it did, but it's much better than that right now.
Good. Yeah, I had video going on the preview over in YouTube Studio. That probably did it.
Maybe.
Look, they know. Jerky Canadian interwebs. I've explained it before. I live in an area where I can't even get fiber internet. My house is in an area where they have underground cabling, and you assume that would be the best place to have fiber internet, but they refuse to put it in my location. So I don't know.
That's unfortunate.
It's not dial-up, you son of a bitch.
He can't let go of those sounds, of the tones and the squelch.
All right, so Arcade1Up, one of the things I like, I was just saying about you, James, is you know so much. Like if I screw something up, like what was it on my show the other night? I was talking about something. I was talking about the bear and the guy from the bear, and I was like, yeah, he's a chef or something. And James is like, oh, contraire. He's actually a greeter.
Yeah, it just happens to be I watched that show. It's pretty great. Now they do call him chef. They call everybody in that show chef, even when they're hosts and waiter servers and stuff. But he's great on that show.
I've never watched a single episode, not one. My wife was watching it. She loves it, but I've never watched it once.
Yeah, it's very artistic. So it's not, if you're not into art of film, you'd probably get bored to tears because it really is just an artistic expression by whoever this director is. So it uses, culinary arts as its way to tell it, but it's very, very interesting. They just dropped Mario Paint.
Yeah, I just saw that come up and I was like, no. No.
Would be the
Now,
direct maybe on Wednesday.
no, but why would they drop it if the direct is already out there?
I don't
Yeah, look
see
at that.
anything.
Here we go. Yeah. That is wild. I guess with the new mouse function, they were going for it, but this is worthy of sharing. Worthy of sharing. So, Nintendo of America just put this up. Mario Paint
Interesting.
is now available for the Super Nintendo library for Nintendo
Yeah.
Switch Online.
So NSO. So I thought they were gonna say like a Switch 2 Mario Paint.
No.
But yeah, NSO. All right, I can see that.
That's rad. I had Mario Paint growing up. Did you have Mario Paint? I got to make sure to say
I
Mario
did.
so people can.
Actually,
Yeah.
you want to know, like, so I've been into like making videos and stuff for a long time. So I was in a freshman in high school, I think, at the time, and I was in photography class, and we had to do a video. So as a project, so I did Guns N' Roses like Civil War, and then I
Nice.
overlaid like Civil War photos, but I used Mario Paint for all the texts and the graphics all throughout it and stuff. It's like because that was like one of the better applications that you could easily just feed into a VCR and start editing and stuff. So back in my very nerdy school days, I guess.
James, top marks, man. Guns N' Roses mentioned plus Mario Paint. Yeah, you're my kind of guy, dude. Anyways, let's take that down. I want to go back and talk about Arcade1Up again really quickly. So this is what I was very longly trying to put to you. I did my video on Mossy Oak, and I was like, I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know what Mossy Oak is. I've never heard of this brand. I didn't know what it was. And you're like, it's actually a massive hunting company here in the U.S., clothing lines and stuff like that. So this could be a huge partnership for them. I think if there's not an XL coming, obviously there's a market for, I think, the Arcade1Up, Buck Hunter, Mossy Oak in Costco. But I also think that it opens up new doors to have it in like bait and tackle shops and like hunting shops and stuff like that. So even though this is, another re-release, we've already had a big Buck Hunter Deluxe. I'm going to give them marks. I'm going to say this is a smart move.
Yeah, we have here in Kansas City, we have Cabela's. I don't know if you're familiar with that, which is a ginormous outdoor retailer. So they sell everything from boats to rifles to, Mossy Oak pants and things like that. They have toys.
Mossy Oak toys.
Well, just toys in general.
Oh, okay,
so they'll have like toy related stuff for outdoorsmen, like camping toys, little guns and stuff like that. They sell everything you can imagine. These places are giant. They have like giant aquarium in there, and it's like the Bass Pro Shop if you've ever been to one of those. So we have a couple of those in Kansas City as well. So like those would be perfect for the Mossy Oak Big Buck Hunter, because that's the clientele, and it fits. It wouldn't be out of the ordinary because they do have some outdoorsy electronics and toy areas where that would sit right in. So I could see them like this being an effort to get into those stores with that kind of stuff.
So Mossy Oak came out, and that was kind of a surprise, but maybe that was a smaller partnership. That's what we thought at first. But then the next shipping data came out, and there's some good news for Canadians. It looks like the claw machine is coming back out, and it may be making its way to Canada. It's not one of the leaks on the EB Games Canada page, but it looks like the claw machine might be coming to Canada. That's one I'm going to get. That is one, like, I know my kids are going to go nuts for. So yeah, the claw machine's coming here. The other one that was a huge surprise, and we talked about in length the last couple of weeks, just because it caught everybody so off guard, was the re-release of Terminator 2. I mean, of all the cabs you would think Arcade1Up would re-release, everybody complained about it, said it was one game, there wasn't enough replayability. Us YouTube pundits talked at the death about the one game, talked about the fact that it wasn't arcade accurate, where it was light guns as opposed to, the what they work on, potentiometers. Is that how the original ones worked?
The real ones, you mean the arcade ones? Yeah, something like that. I don't know enough about the original ones, but they were, like you said, hard connected, and they vibrated and everything else.
I think our buddy MG recently bought something that's vibrates and it's hard connected. It's a Sibian machine.
Yes, I think so. I think that's what he said.
Joe Cade, so good to see you, man. Always see you in Discord, never see you on the channel. 9.99 super chat. That's awesome of you, Joe Cade. Thank you so very much, man. Don't worry, Joe Cade. Your secret is safe with us, despite everybody else trying to spoil it.
Oh.
So, I mean, this is kind of surprising. This is a company we had pretty much written off. There's still a possibility they're still going to do Pac-Man Pub Table coming up at Costco a little bit later this year. But there's some other weird stuff going on. Actually, you showed me today. This is a long-winded way of going to this, but P-Dubs brought up a fact that there was shipping data that came in with nothing on it from Arcade1Up today. And he said maybe they finally learned how to hide it. But then James did his James sleuthing thing and said, no, I'll get the data. And you found out this is actually a shipment coming to Canada, going to Costco.
Yeah, so it looks like it's going through Solutions to Go, which is a Canadian distributor, with Costco as the co-signer. So it seems like that is where it's headed, whatever it is. So
I bring up this comment from JR. Michael B, do you think Costco will get a new 1UP XL this holiday season? Well, it's not going to be this holiday season. If Arcade1Up are going to do an XL, it's going to be there in September. So it has to come through the port to be ready by September. You would think it's got to be there almost right now. So maybe this is it, or maybe this is just, I don't know, maybe the Pac-Man Pub Table, maybe another cab. I can't see this being at Costco if it's also going to be at EB Games, which we know the pre-orders are up for. So what do you think this is? Just a wild guess. Let's speculate. What do you think this is coming into Costco Canada?
Well, so I've been a firm believer that an XL will happen this year, simply because of the contract that they have with Costco. Now, that contract could have been a 2-year contract. I don't know. And now that they've done 2, essentially, I'm going to say new cabs this year, right? Not re-releases.
New-ish.
Yeah.
New-ish.
I mean, who had Terminator 2 on their bingo card? Like, nobody was thinking
never
that.
thought they were going to make another one of those.
Years
ever.
to sell through it. Like, I thought, no chance, but here it is. The big thing I thought is there was a potential that if they did an XL, it would be Big Buck Hunter. But that's clearly not going to happen now, right? Because of the Mossy Oak thing. So now I'm back to it's probably an XL NBA Jam. I can hope for a Mortal Kombat, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, you've got some logic there. There's a couple reasons why I think it would be an XL NBA Jam. One is because a fellow content creator we both know has just recently bought like 6 or 7 NBA Jam Slimcades. So now would be the time for the XL to release the proper XL, not that is one I'd have to consider, because I have the Shaq Jam with a modded screen, so it's a lot better, but it's still Shaq Jam. So you always ask the question, do I want to leave it Shaq Jam, or do I want to get art on it, or do I want to replace the cab with something better? And it would be nice to get something that's, I like the NBA Jam XL, but I'd like to have it with a more arcade accurate shape. Like, I love the big marquee, but I'd love it to be more arcade accurate. So that's something I'd be potentially interested in. But again, I think that'd be disappointing. Like, the people like Paul Mindeman, other people that have been waiting for Arcade1Up to make more XL cabs, another re-release would kind of feel like a kick in the nuts if they did that.
Yeah, I just don't think we can. I mean, it could be, they could shake things up like the Golden Tee thing that they did last year. I just think we know Arcade1Up has to basically do a NBA Jam every year. It seems like they've done one version every year.
Yeah.
They ended the Shaq Jam last year, and so it's kind of flows right in, since they did a golf game last year. It sold well, that maybe they want to go back to the NBA Jam. I mean, I would probably pick it up because I don't have an XL one, but it doesn't excite me at all. Like, and I frankly don't think they're going to do anything that's going to excite us at all. I mean, an MK2 would sell really, really well, but it's still not super exciting. Like, they've had MK2s out for a while, right? So
yeah, so the problem, I will throw this out there with interest in buying like Iconic Arcade, the Street Fighter XXL, And I'll also throw this out for the problem for me specifically wanting an like I really want an MKXL. I think that would be amazing. However, this is the hard thing. I want bigger cabs, but they've got to be really good. Like I'm looking at that iconic Arcade XL, and what I really struggled with was that deluxe Capcom Street Fighter cab is really good. Like, I don't really want to
Yep.
part with that. Like, unless you do an XL that's better, I don't know if I want to buy your XL. And it's the same thing with that MK. The MK Deluxe doesn't get enough credit. That's a great cab.
Oh yeah.
Outside of it having, horrible Paperboy, which shouldn't be on it. And I don't really like Clacks either, but I'm just splitting hairs there. It's mainly Paperboy. That's an excellent cab. Like it's a beautiful looking MK. Art's not super accurate. It's Mortal Kombat Blue instead of Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah.
But, overall, that cab is fantastic. So if they do an XL Mortal Kombat, I'm really interested, but it's got to be so much better than that deluxe cab.
Yeah, and it's one like I said, it would sell well, but like you said, there's a really good version of MK2 out already.
Yeah.
And so while it's like, great, hey, we finally got MK2 and XL, and that looks nice, it's not earth shattering, right? It's not like they suddenly drop, hey, guess what? Here comes Primal Rage in XL, like something like off the wall, nobody saw coming,
Yeah, it's kind of. I'll throw something out at you for Iconic Arcade now, and I'll throw a theory out there. I think Iconic Arcade would have been better off if they just did a Street Fighter Alpha cab, because even though like it's the exact same cab, you have different skins. They both have different games on it. I think people would have saw Street Fighter Alpha 2 and said, "Wow, that's a new cab." But the fact that they also did a Street Fighter 2 cab, people were kind of like, we've already seen Street Fighter a million times. So it's almost like by offering options, which should be a good thing, they kind of cut themselves off at the foot.
Yeah, and it would have been like if you were going to do an option, go completely the opposite, right? So put Street Fighter Alpha on one of them and then do like, forget what the other games are on there, but let's say it's Strider, right? Then do Strider as the other one, right? So it's not even like for the people that want the games that are non-fighters. Now you've got a reason to want different ones. But
so here's the thing, C Marble 360. I left your comment up because I did want to answer this. The new Terminator is exactly like the old Deluxe in terms of the options. So it's still a 17-inch screen. It's not bigger. The only difference is it's in a deluxe form factor that's also slim. So, we're giving Arcade1Up their flowers. They're doing stuff and stuff like that. There's still a lot of problems with Arcade1Up, and one of them is this new slim design. So I don't really want to let them get away with, all this positivity without bringing that up.
It's also shorter by about 4 inches. So.
Yeah. So, and like, why are they doing that?
It fit in a littler box. That's the only thing I can think of is like they're trying to get it in that smaller box to lower shipping costs or something. It just seems weird to me. There's not a lot of reason. I can at least understand the reason behind slimmer because you're saying, oh, it takes up less like floor space, but shorter doesn't like do a lot for you.
I will say, me personally, I do like the deluxe boxes because they're so much easier to lift. Like, especially when you get those big Arcade1Up and you don't have any help, you're trying to lift it doing the arm stretch out like this. So, yeah, I really like the fact that T2 is coming back, but like what's troublesome about it is how small the depth is, especially seeing how wide the original T2 cab was. Like if you put all your cabs directly back up against the wall, T2 stood out. I think it's another like 3-4 inches, something like that compared to other cabs. And this one's only 17 inches from front to back, right?
Yeah. And it's, the original's very tall, right? So it's like taller than Ridge Racer with that big marquee and stuff on it. So the original was a beast, right?
Yeah.
It looked at large. It looked XL size without being XL wide.
Why am I not surprised? Well, someone, I don't know if it's a conversation we had during golf or I was having this conversation somewhere or I was watching a show. Any of these things are possible, but one of the big reasons people brought up for the like slim cabs, like even with Basic Fun originally said they were going to do some kind of slim model, like they were going to have another. We
Yeah.
don't know if it's still coming out, but they were going to do a slim line, and I had heard about this too from Act Games originally. This is something PK told me when they came out with the Act Games Legends Ultimate Mini. The idea was they were trying to attract a different audience, an audience like China or an audience like over in Europe where it's much smaller. People have apartments, they don't really have room for these cabs. So maybe one of the reasons that's a barrier to entry for some people is the footprint of the arcade. And maybe Arcade1Up thinks that's a problem too. The reason they're not expanding and they're not getting more people in is because of the actual footprint their arcades take up. Now, to me, that's just insane logic. Anybody who wants arcade, like other than like, I think Act Games had a more stable logic there. Like, if you're going to have a multicade in, you're going to squeeze it in. But if you're going to put an arcade in, it's big and bad, right?
Yeah, and I think there's wisdom in meeting the market. We know Arcade1Up is trying to go heavy in Europe. And yeah, so it would make sense if they release slim cades in Europe, right?
Yeah.
But to me, that's the party cade. They already have that line. Like party cades are very thin, hang on the wall. You can still play all the games, yet they've pretty much abandoned those except for a Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man at Costco every year. But slims make sense. Fine, sell them in Europe, but to Americans want bigger, right? America's big. Right?
Yes.
We need to have everything bigger.
Yes.
Right?
I don't want to be eating my 28 ounce.
Weird.
I don't want to be eating my 28 ounce steak next to a slim Katie.
Yeah, nobody goes, this 85-inch TV is too big. I need a smaller one.
My wife hates my new TV, hates it so much. So Porter Dream says, I think the slim was designed for the European market. Me and you on the same wavelength, brother. Thank you very much for the super chat. So Arcade1Up looks like they have this mystery product coming to Canada for Costco. Could be the pub table, could be an XL finally, and we expect more stuff to ship within the next couple of days because it looks like Arcade1Up is getting their stuff out there nice and early. And like it's already been talked about, like most of these pre-orders are already up on EB Games Canada, so they're getting that information out there. I don't know if we're going to get much more from Arcade1Up. Like the fact that they did anything shocks me, but here we are. So, good for them. And really the conversation we're having right now by default is Arcade1Up may come out of 2025, still the number one in home arcade by default.
Yep. That's the sad thing, right?
Yeah.
We entered this year with all this hope and promise and we're getting down to it and starting to wonder when our hopes and our promises are going to start paying off.
So I want to move on to Iconic Arcade next. And this is a product, again, I want to be successful. I personally love the big, larger scale arcade cabs. I want this to work because that seems to be their primary objective and it fits in with what I want. Plus, they made the first cab available here in Canada. That's something no one else did. I want this to work. Obviously, I personally, and everybody shit on me for it, I don't like the art on the World Warrior. I love the World Warrior cab. I was so excited by that, but the side art kind of threw me off. And then also 19K Fox and other people kind of guilted me out of getting one. Now the pre-order's gone. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm really interested in Iconic Arcade. I didn't jump in on the pre-order just because it's so long out. And I think one of the big problems with it now is it's the lack of communication. Like whatever happened, whether it be this rumored lawsuit or just the company doesn't feel like it's necessary to reach out and touch with the community. This absolute, and Danny asked this earlier, other people did too. What's with the cricket on the thumbnail? Have you not heard? Have you heard anything from this company? Nah, crickets, man. Crickets. That's what we've heard from Iconic Arcade. So that's what's concerning. The last post we got for them was the delay in saying that these are coming out in October. But we know the cutoff to get stuff in time for Christmas is October. When would be the cutoff to get these cabs over here so they can ship out for the October deadline they gave?
Yeah, I mean, it takes what, 2 months on the water?
Yeah.
So they would have to get October, they need to be on the water like right now, right?
Yeah.
So we would not hear about them. I mean, theoretically, you could be late October, right? There's a lot that falls in there. But I think they originally put out through that VMI October 15th as the date. And
Hmm.
then their statement just said Q4, but I think they made two official statements.
Yeah.
So I'm taking October 15th is what they've said. Now, that statement was made wasn't that very early in June when
Yeah.
that statement was made? So we've essentially been 2 months since the last statement.
Now let's clarify. Very early in June, after the original shipping date.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It was basically like the day of or the day after or the day before, one of those two.
Yeah.
And so, now here we are looking at August at the end of this week, and there's been yet not another single update. Not, hey, we've decided that the World Warrior art is staying, we've pre-sold it, or here's the new art. Not, here's the user interface. Nothing. We've got nothing. Not a single mention. And that is troublesome, and
Big
for
time.
somebody who got to put their hands on it. Like, I really think it looks awesome, and I want this thing, but I'm starting to waver a bit, right? When they, I only put my pre-order of half, right? I did the half deal. And when they inadvertently charged people, I immediately asked for a refund because of that second charge, because I don't want you to take it until I know more. You haven't told me anything other than the original stuff. And so I got to see more.
You didn't get a full refund. You only got half.
No,
refund,
I only
right?
refunded the accidental second charge that they did.
Yeah.
But it's another mess up, right? So, but you can't, that stuff like that happens all the time. The date change, somebody forgets to hit the right button, and they made it right away. Like, if you ask them, they're just like, "Yep, here you go. You got option."
Well, I would have just automatically done the
Oh yeah, you shouldn't have.
I wouldn't have had the option to ask for it. I think that was a mistake. Really quickly, Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger. Size matters. I feel sorry for Nostalgia's wife. Brother, you don't know the half. Thank you so much for the super chat. It's good to see you, Ezekiel. I think unfortunately, some stuff out of Iconic Arcade's control, like these rumors about the cease and desist that broke out, all that stuff.
Terror of Chaos,
all this stuff. They've had a lot of hurdles to jump over. I think all of us hope that this product hits the finish line. They're going to meet their October date, and maybe they're just better at Arcade1Up of hiding the shipping data. You would assume they wouldn't be, but maybe it's all done. Another one that I wonder about, our buddy Mystery Encoder always looks for the FTC. FTCC or FTC? Which one is it?
Like
FCC.
For the radios and stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know. I wonder if their FCC approval and all that's gone through too. That's another thing I would check in, because if that's not through, how likely is it that these cabs have already shipped?
Yeah, so I'm not sure they have to comply with that. And I'm no expert, so I want to be clear. But if they're using, first of all, we know that they're not Wi-Fi, they're not online capable. So we don't even know if there's a radio in them that would require FCC licensing.
Yeah.
Second, is if it's running a Pi, they likely have an off-the-shelf Wi-Fi chip in them and don't need to license it anyway, because they're not the ones manufacturing. Arcade1Up has to, because it's their own board. So now I'm no expert, so I could be completely wrong, and somebody in the chat who is can correct me. But that's my assumption, is because they're using an off-the-shelf product, they wouldn't have to jump through all that licensing.
Are we taking bets on shipping dates? You know what?
Would be an interesting little trivia thing.
I really hope they get it out by October 15th. I hope everything goes to plan. Now, the other thing that we do have to talk about when we talk about Iconic Arcade is some of the rumors that are out there. And I recently got sent, and I mean, like, before the show, a contact with a retailer, so I'm going to reach out for more information. But apparently, not only the rumor behind the scenes is not only is Iconic Arcade going to meet their deadline for Street Fighter 2 Alpha and Street Fighter 2 World Warrior, there's even more stuff coming that the retailers have already signed on to. So Iconic Arcade may be bigger than we originally thought, which is so weird because they're so quiet, and it seems like this first run has been a disaster. The confidence that the retailer has, does that kind of change your mind and make you think, well, maybe this is really happening?
Yeah, I mean, hearing that, when I heard that rumor, I think, oh, great, right? And I could probably guess, like, we've probably seen what some of these other cabs are with the Double Dragon or whatever. Yeah. But again, they haven't confirmed anything, so we have nothing to go off of. But it's certainly, like, when I heard that, gave me a lot more optimism, because it's like, hey, well, they're in communication. They've been asked to order extra things, different SKUs. This is all good signs. So, we just need to hear something. Like, we don't need to. It would be great if they told us what these other SKUs were, but I just want to know about the ones they've been telling people. It's January 1, like, since what, January 6th is when CES started.
Yeah.
Like, we need some more info. We're coming up on a year.
We're not quite there yet, but it'll be 10 months after the announcement before this product actually hits people's hands. So, and they did take pre-orders like right away too when the announcement was made, did they not?
So what? Sorry, I was reading Jason.
No, that's okay. They took pre-orders right away.
Oh yeah, they opened that day, I believe. Like, so the same day as the announcement.
There's been people.
It might even been early that morning. Pre-orders went up, and I don't think the announcement was official till like 6 p.m. that evening.
So here's Paul's comment. I'm talking to a lot of folks right now. I can tell you for sure that Q4 this year is going to have more excitement than we've seen in years. 2026 is going to be even better. I hope that's true. I hope that's true. Dear God, I hope that's true.
We just know, like, this is the time that stuff has to be shipping in. And, you're seeing Arcade1Up stuff shipping in for Q4. It's not available for sale yet, but it's arriving. They're starting to stockpile this stuff. Where's everybody else? You're seeing toy companies, their big Q4 stuff is starting to arrive, starting to hit toy stores. Like, there is, like, we're right on it. August starts school for most people in the US. Things ramp up really quickly. You're going to have the, the Christmas season stuff go up in early September. Like, it's going to be, this is the time. So this stuff should start showing up if it's going to happen.
That's the wild thing. We know that these companies, in order to hit retail and be out at retail, be here, get out for Q4, the latest they can ship, the latest they can come in or ship or come in is October. So we're like early October too. So they've got 2 months and change right now to get this done. And with Iconic Arcade, unless there's some voodoo with shipping that somehow all the absolute ninjas in the community that go out and get this information have missed it, they should already be here. There should already be some information for shipping.
Yep. Yeah, it's yeah.
I always laugh at this comment. Like, I don't know who's making this stuff up. John D is not the company. The company is Iconic Arcade. John D didn't collect any money from you. Yeah. He was already paid by the company.
Yeah, he's a contractor, right? Like, we paid VM Innovations, which is a distributor, and it's all Iconic Arcade's product. Like, I'm sure if John was free to talk about stuff and had info, he would share it. But, he's at the mercy of his employer, like the company that contracted with him. So,
yeah. And Jason knows, like, honestly, John can't help himself. If John was free here, John would be all over it. He'd be like, listen, this is what's happening. But I mean, really, we'll see what Paul says there in a second. But really, like, this isn't his company to talk about. This is a project that he was involved with, and he got off the ground as a consultant. But I don't think that he has any official capacity to talk about any of this stuff.
No, I mean, you know, this contract relationship with a company, like
Yeah.
it's very tight knit when what you can say and what you can't. Like often you have to have special contracts written just to allow you to go talk about it. Like even from a vendor standpoint, we'll have people we buy products from that like we want to release a statement about you using us, and it's like, well, this is what you have to jump through all these hoops for us to even let you use our name, right?
Yeah.
So imagine it from this. He says or does anything wrong that tarnishes them, you know, that's on them. So they're not going to just let anybody say anything. It was all very organized originally, right? They hired PR people to make sure that they controlled the message, and I expect that to continue. Just wish they weren't so quiet, right?
Vic Vicious brings up a good point, though.
Yeah, that's true. It's a little different though when it's his
yeah,
when it's his neck on the line
so
versus
I think what a lot of people don't realize is like I will tell this about Arcade1Up. There was a lot of infighting at Arcade1Up. Paul, I'll come back to your comment in a second. When John worked there was a lot of difference of opinions, infighting. Like a lot of the mistakes they made were arguing between parts of the company, like marketing, arguing with product development and stuff like that. Like one example is when NFL Blitz actually came out, like to retail. John didn't know. No one at Arcade1Up knew except for the marketing team and the retail team. They pushed that out before they even talked to the people running things. So there you go. I don't know where you're seeing this. Glenn bringing out a life-size license big Zoltar FU in time for Christmas. I don't think so. It'd be a generic no-name FU with a man inside that looks like Glenn.
Maybe it's a full-time cab with just the little tiny Zoltar in the middle of it.
Yeah, Glenn would be the very first person to tell you that he does not have money for licensing and stuff like that. The only game he has is Robbie Roto, and there's a very good reason for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very expensive, and you have to have, like, there's obviously he did score the SNK license on the Akari, right?
Well, that's a little bit different. That's a partnership, not so much. Like Glenn didn't license it out, right?
Well, I thought they, you know, to me, it's the same difference, right? He's paying a percentage of sales back or whatever it is. I don't know what his deal is with them, but it's a very niche product that they clearly were not like, you're going to give us $1 million for selling, right?
I remember back when Glenn released that product, like we were all happy for him and stuff like that, but we didn't cover it at first just because like Super Game Room dudes didn't just show that Friday. And honestly, he had gone on other people's shows that, you know, we felt at the time that he was probably closer with, and he'd done live interviews and stuff like that. So we were like, yeah, just, you know, let them have the coverage. Like they're always calling us gatekeepers. Then it turned around. Everybody was like, you don't support Glenn. He comes out with the most awesome product ever. And I'm just like, all right, hold on here a second. It's a rotary joystick, which honestly is fucking niche. How many people are out there being like, you know what, we don't have rotary joysticks? I know for you, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it like, look, Akari is a very niche game. Like you either hate it or you love it. And it's been no secret I'm a guy that loves that. So when he made it, I was like, they're never going to build this as a cab.
No.
So like he just made it a reality.
Like, yeah, that's awesome idea.
Arcade, I've never been able to play Akari Warriors the way it was meant to be played. And so, you know, he made that a reality. And so I was to the moon, right? Like that he did it. But I understand it's very niche. There's not a lot of people out there that are like, I really want a heavy barrel or I really want Akari Warriors. And, you know,
I'm a weird guy. If I want to play heavy barrel, I want to play heavy barrel on the NES. That's the only version I want to play. Anyways, you know, Paul's saying 5 weeks. I think really, and like there's so many sleuths out there, James. You know, there's people looking for this.
Oh yeah.
We really got to hear something from Iconic Arcade in the next couple of weeks. It's great that, you know, the retailers are saying big things are coming and they're very positive about it. But again, we need something tangible, something to say, you know, these are moving. And Once these get delivered in October, I think people are going to be shocked, and I hope they deliver in quality. It's not a good sign. I understand that you can't say things because of whatever's going on. If there's a lawsuit, not a lawsuit, whatever's happening there, maybe your company doesn't want you to talk about, what's going on with shipping. Just give these notices, keep it very brief. But like when you make promises like we are going to do a survey with the audience to change the art and you don't follow through, that's concerning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's an easy one, right? To either just say, here's the new art, and you don't even have to show it on a cab, just say this is kind of the side we're doing, or to say we're not changing the art. It's a simple statement.
Just do one or the other.
Yeah, it doesn't
Even
require
if
development of a UI, doesn't require any of that. No beta testing, nothing. Here's what it looks like.
Yeah, a lot of people brought up the fact that why does everybody want to see the UI? Why does everybody want these questions answered? This was never a question with Arcade1Up. Well, we kind of had a known quantity of what Arcade1Up's UI was, and then like a change from time to time, but there wasn't these burning questions. It's a brand new product we never saw before that also integrates like a Raspberry Pi into it, how our game's going to load. So there's more questions, but I kind of have gone back on that a little bit. I'm like, it's a UI. Who gives a shit? Like, you know what I mean? But the art one is the one that sticks out the most. Like, if you're not going to make changes, I just want to know. If they had finalized that before pre-orders went down, I think they would have had a lot more sales because I think people were waiting on that kind of answer.
100%. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they, like you said, they closed the pre-orders over whatever reason. So, that
why would you close the pre-orders?
Yeah.
Like, why would you close the pre-orders? When was it? That was back in May.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, it was because of tariffs, right? They were supposedly worried that if tariffs keep climbing, they would just continue. They would be left holding a financial loss or something. I don't. That's my assumption.
Open them back
up. Been clear for now, right?
Yeah,
we know what it is.
Open them back
up with a new price.
You could sell literally more, like hundreds, if not more cabs right now. At least one to a fat guy that lives in Canada.
And that just draws more. Questions, right? Like why haven't they opened them back up if they're shipping and stuff like that? So
yeah. All right. So Iconic Arcade. We should know in the next couple of weeks if they're going to make that deadline. 5 weeks, 2 months, somewhere in that window, they've got to ship. So we should see something from them. Now, as much as it's questionable about Iconic Arcade, at least they've had a pre-order. Let's talk about Basic Fun, because right now nothing's being shipped. But even more concerning than that, these have not shown up anywhere for a pre-order. There's no way to buy these. Yep. We have nothing on it other than a very weird interview with Irate Gamer where he wasn't allowed to even, take pictures or anything, a, verbal interview, and that toy book magazine. So what is going on with Basic Fun, and why are they not doing more with this? Especially, and here's the thing, they're not just trying to huck one cab. They're trying to huck 5 cabs with many different versions.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say, as you mentioned, you opened the show, right, talking about Toy Fair LA, where they announced originally, or were shopping this thing originally. So I don't know the exact date of that this year, but I assume it's coming up because it was after San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So it should be happening anytime. And so what I want to see at that is this like, you would think the retailers would have had to already place their orders and stuff. But is this the first time they show up and show all these cabs publicly and they're just out there now as their big launch? But that has to be very soon. And so that's again, it's a weird one with nothing but that really, I take it that article, like it's great that that podcast happened, but it's weird that he took the podcast down. But they had an official in-print magazine do a big article with pictures of the stuff, right? So they're clearly like planning to move forward, but it's just would hope some retailer is talking about pre-ordering these at this point. Like,
Well, I know, like it's one of the things that has saddened me somewhat, but also it's a positive. I know the Brick has the Ultra line coming, so the Brick has already been
Right, they had
working
to
with
place
Basic
their
Fun.
orders. Yeah.
They've been placing their order. They're going to have the cabs coming, so that's a positive. We know something's happening, but again, nothing up on the Brick website. There's no like I've heard that from a retailer, but nothing more than that. And B Kirby says this. I don't see Basic Fun having pre-orders. I see them just putting them out. Sometimes that happens. Like the Brick
Yeah.
will just get a cab in and then it goes up the same day. Like there was no X-Men on the Brick's website. I went there one day and it was just in store, ready to be sold. So maybe it's going to be something like that. I I would say that, except for the fact that Amazon accidentally posted that Basic Fun like $20 WrestleFest arcade. So I do think there's going to be a pre-order.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about bigger ticket items. Like pre-orders make a lot of sense because people have to like save up money and stuff like that. So, but they could do anything they want to do, right?
Well, they can, but if they want to be successful
Right.
selling $500 to $600 arcades, you would assume we'd be getting something soon, whether it be a pre-order, whether it be some listing somewhere. Even, again, I go to the sleuth. Like a lot of times, like this stuff is hidden in the back data they can go in and get. There's already posts up about it, or you'd see something somewhere, but there's nothing. And we go back to the shipping thing again. I mean, I don't think Basic Fun is going to wait right till October, where that cutoff is, because even though people say 5 weeks, there really is an October cutoff for this stuff. Like anything coming to retail has to be in by October to meet the Christmas rush. So, in order for Basic Fun to get this stuff out, I don't think they want to try to launch this like December 20th, like a
No.
$600 item. You want to have this ready September, October, so that the kids can get excited about it, get aware of it, ask their parents, and there's time to put the money aside to pick something up, which is a bigger ticket item for their kids, or, for the 45-year-old kid that's standing in front of you right now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They if they're that late, they miss all their Christmas sales and they've blown it, right?
Yeah.
They'll hemorrhage cash. So
Yeah, so I don't know. I know Basic Fun, like they've got to do something, other than what they've done so far, because they're definitely the most exciting company heading into this mix. I mean, they've got a lot of products and a lot of promises to meet. It's just I'm amazed at how they're doing this. I understand what Paul said. They're a professional company. They know how to do things. They're going to do things the right way, but I just, until I see something, until I see one of these cabs show up and pre-order, get some information about these cabs coming over, their promise of a release date of quarter four for Basic Fun, I don't know if they can meet that.
I do like the name Quarter Fun. That's
Quarter
Q4
Fun.
now. Quarter Fun.
Quarter Fun would have been a better idea than their right?
Yeah, like I said, they're the ones I think most of us are really hoping pull it through because they're kind of a direct replacement for what Arcade1Up was doing.
100%, yeah.
So we're all hoping that they really come out with these banger titles, which they're already coming out of the gate with ones like nobody ever thought Arcade1Up could ever pull off.
WrestleFest, right?
Exactly.
Like immediately.
Huge.
WrestleFest, and not only WrestleFest, but WrestleFest outside of the online, done properly with all the original wrestlers, no compromises.
Yep.
I know when Arcade1Up was doing WrestleFest, when they were planning to do it, and John D was trying to negotiate it for them, like he was like, Road Warriors are out, and we knew that, but I didn't know who else was out. We assumed Demolition because of the concussion lawsuit. We assumed Sergeant Slaughter might be out because he had just signed a new toy deal with G.I. Joe Hasbro, so maybe his likeness wasn't available. It's all really hard to, kind of guess.
Well, the funny thing about Sergeant Slaughter is that I think he will sell his likeness to anybody.
Anybody. Literally anybody.
He has Hasbro's doing him, but so is Valaverse at the same time. And so, like, he wouldn't, it doesn't surprise me that they bagged him because he's like, he'll sell his likeness to anybody.
Anybody. Yeah. Anybody. Really quickly, it looks like right now the known quantity that we've dealt with for the last couple of years is probably going to be the safest bet for arcade stuff, but I guess we'll find out soon because again, if this stuff does not get here by October, we're waiting till 2026.
Yeah.
And the question then becomes, are you still as interested in this stuff coming out if you've got to wait till next year? Does it taint some of the excitement for Iconic Arcade? Does it taint some of the excitement from Basic Fun if they miss that deadline?
It's going to be definitely that way. I think it's going to be disappointing if they miss.
Vic Vicious, that's a really interesting question. I will say no because WWE and everybody, all the rights would be locked up. But there's an interesting point to be made about that. I made a video yesterday. Not everybody watched. Some of you did, and I appreciate it. It was really weird for me because I talked about a horror movie franchise and I talked about a vintage toy line that's coming back. But one of the really interesting things about that, and thank you very much for the super chat, was the fact that they at San Diego Comic-Con, I don't know if you saw this, James. They brought back LJN WWE wrestling superstars.
Oh,
We're gonna
yeah,
get the big rubber wrestlers again.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pre-order's already up at Target, right? So they announced the first wave and they showed John Cena, which is a new figure, Dusty Rhodes, which wasn't made for the Superstars line, looks great, and then also Logan Paul, which I really don't like. But what they didn't announce and is clear on the packaging was there's a fourth wrestler available in that line, and it's the vintage Hulk Hogan wrestler. So I think maybe because of his passing, they decided to pull, the official reveal and stuff like that. It's up now, but it just when you mentioned that about WrestleFest, I don't think it'll affect it, but it made me think about what happened yesterday with the LJN toys.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense not to do an announcement like right after his passing, not to put it out there. But at the same time, it looks bad because sales will happen as a result.
Yeah.
So they wait and then they announce it later. They can actually lean into the Hulk Hogan thing, right? And not be looked at as like garbage opportunists, because it's something they've been working on. I will say also, I looked up the toy event in LA, and it's called the LA Fall Preview, which is where all these toys. And so that is the week of September 8th through the 19th. So it's 2 weeks of basically. So that hopefully is we see all this stuff. Because if we don't see it by then, because that's well into, you're 2 weeks away from October.
Yeah.
So if those aren't showing up there, we've got bigger problems.
So I'm a little concerned now. I hate when toy pre-orders go up at Target because there's no Target in Canada. And now I am effed in the B for how I'm going to get my hands on these. Like it's so frustrating. Like a lot of, the classic TMNT figures, they go directly Target exclusives. Now these LJN WWE superstars are Target exclusives. And like I'm chat GPT in it. I'm asking everywhere, where's the Canadian, pre-order going to be? And they're like, we don't know. So I've been going to like Titan Toys here in Canada. I've been going to Big Bad Toy Store, nothing up yet. I'm starting to get really antsy. I'm not going to be able to get these rubber wrestlers, these superstars, James.
Oh, I can't imagine them skipping Canada. Do we know who owns the LJN license these days? Like,
LJN.
Is it Hasbro? I thought there's some other company still own them. Are they off on their own?
I don't know. I know a couple years back they worked with the other wrestling promotion and they did wrestling superstars for AEW. So I don't know. I don't know. Target doesn't hate Canada. Target went like bankrupt in Canada. They had a really bad CEO, a really, really bad CEO.
Yeah, I mean, Target is basically their headquarters are almost in Canada up there in Minnesota. So
someone else asked about a mask pre-order coming up soon. I just pre-ordered all my mask toys, man. I can't believe we got more coming already. Like it's awesome, but
yeah, they showed drawings of the new ones, so not prototypes. So I would imagine we're 6 months away from
we got a ways away, and I don't need to, sell another kidney just yet.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing.
Sorry, I was gonna say that's like those the Mondo King of the Hill figures. I was like, oh, they're just drawings, so it's gonna be a while. 2, like, is that going to be like $1,000 to get that whole line of figures? Because Mondo's super expensive.
Oh my God, are they expensive? Those sons of bitches. And I'm sorry, I'm trying not to swear because of the guy who threatened to report me for swearing after last week's show. But yeah, those Mondo figures, they broke my heart because they released what was the most awesome looking Ghostbuster figures I had ever seen in my life. And I was like, I am
Oh, yeah.
all in. Like, someone's doing the Boogeyman, someone's doing like the Sandman. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, you can get these for the low price of $384 Canadian. And I'm like, I'm out. I'm
Yeah.
not paying $384 Canadian for two toys.
And they're not even their giant, like 12, 1/6 scale figures. They're just regular 1/12 scale or 6-inch figures, like maybe 8, somewhere in there.
I've never had a Mondo toy, so I can't talk about the quality, but I will tell you, the Super 7 figures, also pricey. They look fantastic, but they're not great toys. They're very basic, right?
Yeah.
Is Mondo better than that?
Mondo is really good. Like their newer stuff, like if you go to some of their older stuff, plus they have vinyl lines. The vinyl lines look great, but there's not a lot of articulation to them. But if you look at their Masters figures, the ones they've done in the last couple of years, they're super detailed with all kinds of accessories. Like they use real metal in them, like just do all kinds of crazy stuff. And now they're over $300 a piece. They're giant. They just take up a massive amount of space. So that's Mondo's sweet spot, is the really, really high-end collector.
Oh my God. Oh my God. See, I'm trying to slowly convince James to do a weekly toy podcast with me as well. So this is the start. We'll see how it goes from here. Anyways, thank you very much, B. Kirby. Gifted 10 Michael B. the Game Genie memberships. Greatly appreciate it. Man, we got to do something with that soon. I keep talking about it and then not doing it because I'm busy as hell, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Maybe Q4 2025, maybe 2026. It depends on shipping. Last thing, I did want to go back and just talk about this because I don't want this to be understated. Like, we talk about Basic Fun, but there's that unique piece with Basic Fun where they're not just coming out with 5 arcades. Like Arcade1Up's coming out with Terminator and Big Buck, but that's it. They're coming out with 5 arcades Basic Fun are, but they're also coming out with various versions. You've got the cheaper version, which is also coming out at the same time, which is like your Walmart. They're not doing Walmart like clearance cabs, but they're doing like countertop versions, right?
Well, they've said they're doing countercades essentially.
Yeah.
They're doing Slim, the Ultra, the Supreme. Was there 5? I thought there was. For some reason, I was thinking
5 arcades. 4 different versions.
4 form factors. Yeah. So
4 form factors.
It's the counter, the Slim, the Ultra, and the Supreme.
Yeah. So the Supreme is what I want to talk about because we'll go back. We talk about Iconic Arcade and love that they're doing big arcades, and I want to see more of these. Here's Iconic, not Iconic, Basic Fun coming out of the gates. Not only are they also doing XLs, but look at the titles they're dropping in XLs right out of the gate. You're getting WrestleFest, brand new IP. Awesome. Yep. Getting Centipede. Art is going to be better than the Ultra, but it still's got that horizontal screen that breaks my fucking heart. Sorry for swearing. then we're also getting Pac-Man because we need another Pac-Man. But here's where it gets super exciting. We're also getting a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles XL, and we're getting a Star Wars XL. Like, how are they going to put these out? And like me, like, I'm like, all right, well, I all of a sudden I need $3,000 to get 3 of these arcades.
So my hope is that these are designed to be like evergreen, and that's the difference between them and Arcade1Up, is that they're dropping now, but they're planning on having these like continually ship and be in stores for a couple of years. Because how are you going to buy all like 5 of these and at like one time, right? Like, I mean, it's certainly possible, but I don't think that's going to be the vast majority of their customers, and I think they know that. So they have to be like, hey, this is our base lineup. We're going to come out with it, and then we're going to each year we'll add 1 or 2 SKUs and take 1 or 2 SKUs out. That makes the most sense. That's something Arcade1Up never really, I don't think, understood, is that you keep a base line as your what's it called with gateway drug, right?
Yeah.
And then you sell the niche ones online that cost a lot more money that you're not going to sell a ton of. Let
Bingo.
Pac-Man, let NBA Jam, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter be the gateway drug to the other stuff.
You know, I think Arcade1Up have finally got there though, because I think I don't know, but I look at their deluxe cabs of Pac-Man, Class of 81, and Mortal Kombat, and I think, all right, there they are. There's the cabs they're going to constantly bring more out of. I can't believe that they're still selling these as new old stock or old stock buybacks. I think they're producing more of them and bringing them out. Like they've got to be.
Yeah, they definitely are. You're seeing a lot of Class of 81 constantly getting shipped in and stuff like that. The question is it too little, too late, right? The retail footprint has all but disappeared except for very specialized locations, right? Target only has the Class of 81. Walmart has the SE stuff.
Target.
You're just not seeing the rest of that stuff.
Oh, damn you,
like
Target.
out there.
Damn
Even
you.
Best Buy, like most of the stores don't have them anymore. Like I think PD7 has the only Best Buys that still have those things in them.
So I loved what PD7 was doing to Walk and Talk, and like everybody got into everybody was doing these things a little while ago, going to stores and stuff like that. And I was like, I love that. And I started doing it with my daughter. And I noticed like it was right around the time that we hit this calamity with home arcade and stuff like that. So like the idea was we go look at home arcade, we go look at toys. And like the last episode we did was so disappointing because like we went to a store and we were like, yeah, they pretty much got rid of everything. There's no inventory. There's no displays, nothing. Like, that's the end of that series.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, anyways, James, I got you at the last minute to do this, and I could talk my head off all night, but I don't want to keep you too long. Guys, thank you all so much. Before we go, there was a poll that I put up, and I'm interested to see what people responded with. So 124 votes. Which of these companies' products will come out in 2025, which means they'll get here before the end of the year? You know what you've looked. If you didn't look, I was going to ask you, James, but
I cheated.
I'm surprised, but the winning answer at 49% was all three companies. I did not expect that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that either. I thought it would go heavy, basic, fun because that's the easy bet. But
yeah, I thought Arcade1Up and Basic Fun was going to run away with it, but that came in second with 28%. 15% said just Arcade1Up. Of course, proof is in the pudding. We already saw those coming. And then last place, I think people are still very dubious of Iconic Arcade. And again, it goes back to the cricket on the thumbnail. The fact that they're not saying anything to anybody. It's just weirded everybody right the fuck out. Again, sorry for the swearing.
I'm kind of curious. So where do you think the Unico stuff fits in this? Just not in the realm or just on the outside edge?
The Unico stuff fits into the mold of whether or not they get the licensing. So again, super weird announcement. Like to just tell Fox to mention it on a show. Like at least At Games gave P-Dubs a spreadsheet, right? So Fox is there giving off this information. He's like, I got slides. So you think it's something official from them or something. No, it's just words Fox put on a slide. And you're like, oh, okay. So what they mentioned was they are currently working. They are doing, homages to classic arcade cabs.
Yeah.
So me and you, I think we have a little bit of a disappointment. I believe that it's going to be a big blue, big red, and then I think they're going to do a dynamo. However, I think you think that they're going to do a big red, potentially a big blue, and then they're going to do a Robotron cab.
Yeah, and I flat out say I don't think Robotron cab is like the best of business sense, but that I only say that because Jay Mason mentioned that's the one he really wants to do.
And I mean, I'm all in. I'll get it.
Yeah. But my experience is when he wants to do something, he just does it, whether people tell him it's a good idea or not.
Like the Unico handheld.
He's got a whole bunch of handhelds and things like that, right? So that's the only reason I say that one. The Dynamo one, knowing that they're potentially contracting with Media 1-Up, right, to help with the licensing and stuff like that, to me seems too close to what Iconic is doing. for a Dynamo unless they do like an HS5 versus an HS1. And so that's the only reason I shy away from that. Plus a Big Blue, like having two of the Capcom style, like, I mean, it's a no-brainer because it gets reused. Dynamo is
So
basically
often,
used by every brand, not just Capcom. And the fact that they're going to roll forward with some of these, whether they get a license or not. So if the license falls through, they have theoretically said they're going to still release the shape, right? So that opens the door for doing other things, even if they don't get a license. So we'll see.
So
I
I'll
just
say
think they're going to be so big and expensive. It's going to be hard to.
knowing Unico, I don't think Unico are anywhere near 2025. They're definitely in 2026, maybe middle of 2026. I think that we saw what we saw what happened with the Nova Blast.
Yeah.
How much lead time they had for the Nova Blast before it actually came out. I would expect the same with these. So if we don't have anything now, we're not going to see it this year.
Yeah.
I would put these outside this market because I think they're going to be of higher quality. They've already talked about HAP competition buttons. It's going to have that 26 screen, and they talked about it having the same price point as the Nova Blast, which I put it up around the same price point as like Glenn's Build-A-Cade FU.
Yeah.
Then the other thing, if these aren't licensed and they don't have the artwork on the cab as well as the games, I would place these more again into that upper echelon multi-cade market that Glenn's in, because it's the same thing. Like you buy Glenn's cab, you buy the Donkey Kong hood, you've got all the elements there that you can make a Donkey Kong. If you buy a Homage Big Red, it's got no games, no art. It's the same kind of category. That's where I put it. I wouldn't put it in the exact same category as Arcade1Up, Basic Fun, or Iconic until they come out and they're like, yeah, we got the licenses.
Yeah. Yeah, even if they do, I think the price is going to be so high that I really feel like these are better suited. And I kind of said this when I talked about them originally, was that these make more sense for arcade operators that, like, you know, Chuck's Arcade and places like that want the retro style, but without the old hardware that they got to deal with. Right.
Yeah.
So if they can get that retro looking cab and then slap a card reader on the front of it or whatever, that is like the perfect for them because it's brand new. It's not going to break down, you know, but they don't have to refurb it.
I also think the further and further that price keeps going up, like up, and up, we get away from really what brought people to the dance here in this space, which is these recreation arcades that look like most people could afford, most people can have in their home. Back to arcade being that very expensive niche hobby where you're either a collector of the original cabs or you're buying expensive multi-cades, one or the other, instead of it being a cheap retail fun hobby.
Yeah. And I think Arcade1Up has proven that if you go over $4.99, you're greatly destroying your own sales. And so you'll sell some, you're just not going to sell 100,000 units.
It's going to be a very small market. Yeah. All right, James, I've kept you here for an hour and 12 minutes. My voice didn't go tonight, so that's a positive. That's one of the other reasons I wanted you to come on. I was like, save some of this. Anyways, thank you so very much, man. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'm going to try to convince James to do this toy show with me. If you don't like toys, well, I can't help you with that, but we're going to do a toy show, so deal with it. Anyways, guys.
2 points of articulation. There you go.
2 points of articulation.
You can't really do that. There's already a 3 POA, so you can't. But it was fun.
We'll just call ourselves Geek Dad Life.
There you go.
Or Pixel Dan.
Yeah, Pixel Dan works. I think that's available.
Yeah, he won't mind. Dan, weirdly. Anyways, guys, thank you very much. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you later on the week. Happy Monday, everybody. So anyways, we're off the air now. We're definitely not still on. So this rumor came from Joe-Cade, and it talks about the demise of one of these arcade companies, which definitely is going to... Oh, shit, we're on. Bye.